Got it.
Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3.
Yes. Testing, testing. I'm going to practice how far away you need to be.
Testing.
There you go.
Hi.
Is this movable? That it can go down for the kids? Nate, can you mute them again? Okay.
Test. Test. Good evening. I will now call to order the Wayzata Public Schools Board of Education regular meeting for Monday, April 10th, 2023. And will the clerk please call the roll?
Yes, Milan Sahoni,
Present.
Linda Cohen.
Here.
Heidi Cater,
Here.
Bonita Lucky, here. Cheryl Poseen,
Here.
Sheila Pryor,
Here.
Sarah Johansson,
Here.
Chase Anderson.
Here.
All right, we are all here. Welcome, everyone. We are so honored that you are spending a portion of this gorgeous spring evening with us. And thanks so much for being here. And we will move on now to get the meeting started so we can send you back out to this gorgeous spring meeting. The first item on our agenda is the approval of the agenda and the consent agenda. The consent agenda items are considered to be routine in nature and will be enacted by one motion. There'll be no separate discussion of these events or items unless a board member or a citizen so requests, in which event the item will be removed as a consent agenda item and addressed. The consent agenda items are listed and detailed in the board packet, and the recommended action is to approve the agenda and consent agenda items. Is there a motion to that effect?
So move.
I'll second. All right, there's no discussion of the consent agenda items, and it's a roll call vote.
Sheila Pryor,
Yes.
Bonita Lucky, yes. Cheryl Poseen,
Yes.
Milan Sahoni,
Yes.
Linda Cohen,
Yes.
Heidi Cater,
Yes.
Sarah Johansson.
Yes. Fantastic. We have an agenda. The next item on our agenda is the reports from organizations, and I see that Tanvi's here to tell us what's happening at the high school.
Hello. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Tanvi. I'm the Student Body Vice President at Wayzata High School and serve as the representative to the school board. All right, so we had a really successful last month. I'm going to run through a couple of the accomplishments that our high school students have achieved. First, the speech team won Section 5 AA championships, and they're going to state. The robotics team got first at their last regional, and they're going to Worlds for the first time since the team started 17 years ago, so congrats to them. The boys basketball team, which I see is here, won the state championship, which, again, congrats to you guys. Now moving on. We also held a school-wide March Madness bracket this year with over 200 entries. I actually got third place, so I'm pretty proud of that. But the winner got a free prom ticket. And in addition, at the basketball championship, I don't know if you guys were there, but we finally revealed the new mascot costume that we bought, which was really exciting. Spring sports are starting up, really exciting. It's actually warm enough to practice outside. Some of the stuff that's happening this week and also into the future. First, HEART, which is our mental health awareness club at the school, is hosting a wellness week. So every day after school, they're hosting like mental health activities, coloring, decorating cupcakes, that kind of thing, really fun. MCA testing is this Thursday, which I'm a senior, so I get a day off, which is exciting for me. But to all the 10th and 11th graders, good luck. Student Council is hosting our first ever drive-in movie on April 28th. We just revealed today that we are showing Ferris Bueller's Day Off, so really exciting. You guys should all buy tickets and attend. Prom tickets will go on sale this week. Hamlet, which is the play that the high school is showing, is opening on April 28th and will run through May 6th. And the NHS Senior Showcase is on April 24th. Those are all the things happening this month.
All right, thank you so much. Board colleagues, questions or comments? Yeah, Heidi?
Sounds like an exciting spring to me.
Yeah, it definitely will be.
Any other questions? I have a couple. One, the drive-in movie, is the first year, is that just, we have lots of elementary parents who are probably like, is that just for high schoolers this year? Or is it something that the community is open to come to?
Considering this is the first year we're doing it just high schoolers, but we're definitely thinking about opening it up to the community next year. So keep a lookout for that next year.
Yeah, that sounds exciting.
Yeah.
And then my second one, your March Madness bracket. Did the person that won actually pick the UConn and Miami to play? I mean, with a wild year, how close were the brackets? Yeah, this is a really hard question for you, but.
I don't know about the person that won. I had UConn winning, which is why I got third, but I don't know about the person that won.
Yeah, it was
I have no
pretty
idea.
wild. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Right, yeah.
Thanks, guys. Yeah. All right, now it's time for recognitions. I will join Dr. Anderson at the podium.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you for being here tonight. My name is Chase Anderson. I'm the superintendent for the school district, and it's always my honor to convene the recognitions portion of our school board meetings, and we're really happy to welcome all of you here tonight. We have a lot of wonderful accomplishments and recognitions to share here tonight, and it's really pleasing to look out and see a full house. It's wonderful to have so many students here, and all on top of maybe what's our first beautiful night that we've had weather-wise for quite some time. So we're honored that you're indoors here with us. Maybe we should have moved it out onto the side hill here or something to enjoy the weather a little bit more. But anyway, we're really happy that you're here and glad that you could join us tonight. So we'll move on to the recognitions portion. I believe we have 4 different sets of recognitions. And to start with, I would like to invite a couple of our math team coaches, Lee Barnett and Kate Granlund, who I've spotted both of them here, to come forward. And I'd also like to welcome forward any math team members that are being recognized tonight. Come on down and line up over here, and I'm going to just shortly turn it over to the 2 coaches and let them introduce who's here with us tonight and share a little bit about the wonderful accomplishments. The high school team, math team, was crowned state champions, forget this, the 5th consecutive year. Most of us go to school, high school, all 4 of those years. Yes, a round of applause. I don't think I was ever a champion in anything in high school, on a team or individually. So to have done this 5 years in a row is just incredible for our team, and congratulations to our coaches for that work. It was just a tremendous and monumental year for everybody, and rather than me trying to figure out all the appropriate things to say here, I'm going to turn it over to our 2 coach experts, let them introduce our team members here tonight, and welcome you forward to the podium. And students, you can feel free to get your speaking voices tuned up. You may be getting called on as well here before long. So if you would, congratulations so much. Great to have you.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Lee Barnett. I would like to take credit for these amazing accomplishments, but this is really some incredible students you have in front of you. So yeah, 5th year straight as state champions. That's at the state tournament. That means our seniors, we have a lot of great seniors leaving this year. They've been champions every single year that they've been in high school. I should also point out that the regular season, to get to the state tournament, you have to do well in the regular season. We have had the highest score in the entire state in the regular season for, I think, what is it? Hold on. Yeah, 16 years straight. So, I mean, state tournament's just one tournament, but to be that consistent for, a generation is incredible. So, yeah, I do want to, there are 8 members of a varsity math team, but the top 50 scores in the state get invited to the tournament. We had 12 state tournament participants, so that's pretty incredible. And I actually want to read out all 12 names, because to make it there is quite the accomplishment. So, well, we have Kate Granlund in front of us. She's the assistant coach, has been a great help this year. Matthew Chen is senior this year. He had the 2nd highest score in the entire state for the whole season for the state and the state tournament as well. Make sure I get everybody. Let's see, Richard Lynn is going to be with us next year. That's exciting. And so is Sneha Kundu and Amy Zhang. So we are excited to have some consistency. But the other seniors that we will be losing. Oh, all right. Here comes Kevin Chu, so he's also going to be with us next year. The other people that unfortunately couldn't make it, senior Michelle Chow, senior Eric Chen, let's see, senior Leon Liu, senior Andrew Zhang, senior Emma Zhang. We have junior Nitish Sharodkar, and let's see, another freshman, Arachika Mandal. And so, congratulations, guys. That's great.
Anybody want to speak on behalf of the team?
I'll add one thing too, that at the math tournament, the top 50 kids compete in an individual competition, and the top 10 of those I would describe it as a math off. They're on the stage and they hold up their answers and they get 30 or 60 seconds. We had 3 students from Wayzata representing that were part of the 10 students that participated in the math off. And Sneha got first place, and she's the first woman to get first place in math league history.
That's incredible. Well, congratulations to all of you for your great success. I know we want to get a photo, and maybe we'll just step over here in front of the board if you would, and we'll get a quick photo there of everybody. Congratulations, and thanks so much again for being here tonight.
Actually, it's not a question, it's a comment. Being long ago in another career, I was a math teacher, and I am thrilled to see that there are some young women who are really math experts. Yeah. Thank you. Woo.
All right, well, thanks again, and thank you, Linda, for that comment. Our next recognition is for a team that actually needs a state championship or a 5-time state championship math team to keep track of the points they score, the rebounds they get, the wins they had, the state championship consecutive appearances they've been in, and just a really, really long list of great accomplishments. So I would like to invite Coach Brian Schnettler forward, along with the other coaches that are here tonight, and our state champion 2023 Wayzata High School boys basketball team. I'm just going to read a brief script, and then I'll turn it over to Coach Schnettler and let him share anything else about the team and their great accomplishments that he'd like to share. Team, thanks for being here tonight. Coaches, much appreciated. The Wayzata boys basketball team defeated Park Center in the Class 4A championship game held on March 25th at the Target Center in Minneapolis. The game was closely contested, with both teams trading leads throughout the game. 36 minutes wasn't enough to decide a winner, and the two teams went into overtime. Wayzata's Jackson McAndrew scored 8 of the team's 9 points in overtime to secure a 75-71 victory. The win not only avenged Wayzata's loss to Park Center in the 2022 championship game, but also earned them their first championship since way back in 2021 when they won it all the last time. Congratulations to Coach Schnettler and the high school varsity basketball team on this nail-biting victory. We're really proud of you all. Congrats.
Thank you for honoring us tonight, and these guys have had quite the run. Not only did they win the state championship, they won 27 out of their last 28 games. They won the Lake Conference Championship for the 3rd year in a row and the section championship for the 3rd year in a row. We're not quite the math team. We did win the section academic championship for the 9th year in a row, and for the first time we won the state academic championship. So we're trying to catch them. We're not quite there yet, but we got some good stuff going in the books too. I think more importantly, and I think these guys would say it too, more importantly than anything that they did on the court, was how close they became off the court. And I think if you did watch us play in the state tournament, you could truly see how much they cared about each other. And we got guys who are still on vacation a little bit, a couple guys on spring break, and a couple guys playing spring sports. Baseball's practicing right now, so we got some guys there as well. But these guys were confident and connected in the state tournament because of the work they put in and how close they became off the court. But I think when Spencer Hall, he's been playing varsity for 3 years. We've been in the state championship 3 straight years, and he's a big part of that. He went down in the semifinals, and you could see how much he meant to those guys and these guys and how close they are based on their reaction to him. And you could also see it based on how they responded in the state championship and how they played. So these guys they've been awesome to coach. It was really a special year. We got Coach Cornish here tonight, our JV coach and varsity assistant. We got junior Jack Simon, junior Jackson McAndrew, also known as McNasty now from the TV. We got junior Drew Nepstead. We got sophomore Wyatt Macbeth. Wyatt kind of got thrown into the fire a little bit in the state championship. He hadn't really played varsity minutes all year, and some coach decided to play him in the state championship game, and he did great. So we got senior captain Hayden Tibbetts, junior Braden Sandman, junior Luke Hoagland, junior Michael Saphir, junior Daniel Gerbasek, and then senior captain Jake Schmidt. And then down in the end, we got senior captain who just finished his surgery. He just had surgery on Friday, senior captain Spencer Hall. So we have an awesome group. We're looking forward to having some of these guys back next year again. But our senior class, what they did over the last 4 years is truly remarkable, and we're looking forward to continuing what they have started and continue to do. So thank you.
No slam dunking here.
I think it just sits up. Does it rest up? It's hanging on here.
Coach.
He does have good hand-eye coordination.
Don't sit. Watch out. I think it's not a football game.
All right, thanks again, coaches and athletes, for being here tonight. It really was an incredible season, and they provided great entertainment for the community and just a group to be really proud of. And Coach Snetler commented on the team chemistry and how well they played together, and it really was evident out on the floor that they were well orchestrated and coordinated, and certainly knew how to bring it in all those games. So it was just really a lot of fun. Next is our Employee of the Month. I haven't actually, now I have spotted our Employee of the Month. She's hiding in the back. I'd like to invite Maggie Gross to please come forward from Greenwood Elementary School. Maggie. First, I'm going to share the script that was put together on behalf of Maggie to nominate her for this award. And it's my honor to read this, and then we'll give Maggie a chance to say a few words herself, which I can tell she's looking forward to already. Maggie Gross joined Wayzata Public Schools as a paraprofessional substitute in the spring of 2003 and shifted to full-time para for the 2003-2004 school year. During her 20 years with the district, she has worked as a para at Greenwood Elementary and with the district's summer home-based program for 7 years. Maggie is a caring professional who will do anything she can to help students be successful. She has poured her heart and soul into our kiddos for many years. Maggie approaches her work with grace and compassion. Her kindness, generosity, and her big heart are so inspiring. Whether she's organizing community service projects, connecting with Greenwood families in their homes and community spaces, working one-on-one with students, or helping hundreds of students to have fun during recess each day, she does it all. Maggie has established trust and rapport with countless students. Through it all, she shows up with a positive attitude. Maggie recently announced her plans to retire after 20 years with the district. She's an amazing paraprofessional, and she will be greatly missed next year. So it's my honor to introduce and welcome to the microphone not only our Employee of the Month, but a family friend. Her son Nick and my son Paul were friends in high school, and it's just really fun for me to be here convening this. So Maggie, congratulations, and it's your turn.
Thank you. It's been a wonderful 20 years with the district, and I hope to come back as a volunteer in the next 20 years.
It's clear all that fanfare for ever humble Maggie was tough, but well-deserved. Congratulations. And then our final recognition this evening, I haven't spotted Dale here, but each month at our regular school board meetings, we do announce those individuals who have indicated their intent to retire. And we only have one this month, and that is Dale Statema, who's custodian with Central Services for 37 years, which is a pretty incredible run. We'll miss Dale, and we'll give him a round of applause and wish him well. That concludes our recognitions for the evening. We're looking forward to the Greenwood presentation, and of course you're all welcome to stay for that or move on to whatever your other evening activities may be, but we're just so thankful and pleased that you're all here with us tonight. And again, thank you so much for that.
All right. Well, again, congratulations to our scholars, congratulations to our athletes, and congratulations to our wonderful staff. It is a highlight. Our next item on the agenda is always a highlight of the evening, and that is our student spotlight presentations. And I see Dana Miller, our Executive Director of Teaching and Learning, coming on up to the podium to introduce Dr. Gustafson and our friends from Greenwood Elementary. So welcome, Dana.
Awesome. Thank you. Good evening, Madam Chair, Superintendent Anderson, board members. It is my great pleasure tonight. This is always my favorite time of the month, too, even when it's this nice outside. So I get the pleasure tonight to introduce Greenwood Elementary tonight that is here. And it looks like we've got a whole bunch of folks from Greenwood that are excited to join us. And they're here tonight to do our curriculum presentation. They'll be talking about a mosaic of reading-related experiences from Greenwood. They're going to highlight some of the work that's connected to our district roadmap, our equity commitment, and some additional research that we've been doing around reading. Creating a culture of literacy is a journey, one that Greenwood is very committed to, and so their team is here tonight to discuss their journey. We're excited to hear from them. They've got some passionate readers here to join us. And again, with that, I'm going to turn it right on over to them so we can hear directly from these passionate readers. So thank you and welcome, Dr. Gustafson.
Thank you so much. All right, great to see everyone. Go Grizzlies. So as Dr. Miller mentioned, this is a mosaic, or I like to look at it as a collage of literacy practices. So instead of going super deep on one thing, we just thought we would give you a bunch of little glimpses of the really cool things kids are working on and that teachers are invested in. So that's kind of the framework for tonight. The last time I think we were here presenting, we shared some of our work related to the basic needs. And the really cool thing I think about our literacy journey is it's grounded in the basic needs. So
several years ago, if I could barely remember, kind of during the pandemic, we were having conversations on staff about what we want school to feel like for our readers. And a really cool thing was born out of this work. And belonging, by the way, I'll just highlight as one of the core things that we're working on to help kids be successful at school. So how does that relate to reading? You don't have to read all the things. I just want you to kind of notice that we talked about as a staff reading related practices and which of our practices help kids feel like they belong. What do they need to survive? Like, things like a strong phonetic base and a place just to feel safe reading. But the overarching thing, so as we're sharing these practices and as our kiddos are sharing tonight, what we hope you'll really take away is we're committed to having each and every student that we work with learn how to read and to want to read, because one without the other just isn't enough. So I promise not to read all these slides, I really won't, but there are just a few that I wanted to highlight, so I'm going to read. This is some of the research that Dr. Miller alluded to. So why reading? Successful readers have the capacity to be more successful in nearly every other academic endeavor. That's one reason why reading matters. I would also mention there's other research out there that talks about the longer kids are in school and as they progress through high school, if we're not careful, the less they love reading. So this really does matter, and having intentionality applied to our practice makes a difference, and we're seeing that happen. So what do we do? What do we do about that? Well, reading for pleasure is more important to cognitive development in adolescence than parents' level of education. And if you just think about that, anytime I go to the dentist, or it seems like any survey I take, they'll ask, what was your parents' level of education? I don't know if you've had that experience too, but I think people ask that because they think it's really important. So frame that against that research. Reading for pleasure is also really, really, really important. So I hope our dentists will start asking, do you read for fun? Do you read for pleasure, right? Makes sense to me, right? But anyway, that's the direction we're going and what we want to help instill in our students. So trivia time. This is research related, so don't get too excited. I'll ask you to fill in the blank here in just a second. Here's the clue. To promote wide reading outside the school day, students need recommendations. So blank from trusted adults and peers can spur voluntary reading. And what would that blank be? Books, and specifically, we call them book talks. Book talks, that you've maybe heard of them, or you've probably given book talks. It could be as informal as just being at a restaurant and telling a friend what you're reading. Like that's a book talk. They could have a little bit more structure. Our teachers will carve out time for kids to recommend books that they're reading to their classmates. But all of these things are done just to spread a culture of reading and just to create that positive peer pressure, connection, authentic engagement. So now comes the mosaic, and I'll just start by giving some little slivers of practice before we build up to the grand finale, which is our incredible students who are here. And I'll go grade by grade just a little bit. So one thing our kindergarten team wanted me to share was, like, what does the student reading experience look like, sound like, and feel like in the classroom? So this is actually a picture, and I'll just point out in the foreground, you have some kiddos that I had the pleasure of working with one day just by chance, and I thought, this is really cool, so I just took a picture because they were so engaged and practicing and asking me questions. And then in the background, their teacher, who just so happens to be Mr. Brandell in this picture, was working in a small group, giving some personalized instruction. But the kindergarten team wanted me to specifically mention, each team at Greenwood has a SMART goal, and the kindergarten team SMART goal is 100% of students will respond to a reading survey that they developed in the affirmative, where they say, I like to read, and I think reading is fun. So of course, in order to like to read, it goes back to our literacy true north. We need to teach them how to read, because that's fun and that meets their power need. But we also want to create joy-filled reading experiences with books. So I'll just segue into first grade. In first grade, reading and writing related activities help students become better at reading and writing. Makes sense. Whether students are getting small group instruction from a teacher, practicing skills during IDR time, or partner reading, they are building skills. They're building stamina, and they are developing a joy of reading. After reading set books, reading groups, set books in reading groups. Students will do word work, which is one of the things that's pictured here, practicing sentences, phonics, and high-frequency words. They also use their student response books to write about books they're reading, identify facts, and then practice skills like visualizing. And this all feeds through in the grades, and you'll see that as kids share a little bit later. Moving into second grade, and this is the part of the presentation where I make good on my promise not to read slides, so don't panic. I just wanted to frame the work a little bit. A lot goes into some of the stories in the short video clip I'm going to share. So PLCs are working on, for example, their SMART goals. Second grade has some guiding questions that they're checking in with our students on regularly, and all of that funnels to the student, like the reader experience. So it's, don't panic on the sound. I'm just going to talk over this, but it's a little more authentic when you're seeing kind of what kids are doing. So here we have 4 students who are connecting to books, and one of the district survey questions.
Someone that Parker looks up to is Michelle Obama. Someone that I look up to is Messi, because he's a good soccer player and I like soccer.
I have a self-connection to the book Parker looks up. My self-connection is that we both went to a museum and seen like a picture of Michelle Obama.
It's important for people to see someone that they look up to.
My grandparents speak a different language than me, and I can't understand them. So this is a wordless book, but she saw her family in that book, and that was just a really cool revelation she had. Other kiddos who were up there made different connections. They said, I play soccer, that character played soccer, and that's where they're at. Another one said, in this book, I forget all the details, sometimes the stories run together, but it was the character went to a museum and there was a feature on Michelle Obama. And this kiddo had a connection to that. And it just goes on and on. It's just really cool that when we talk about kids connecting to books, it's a lot of their own personal experiences, and that just whether it's interest-based, family-based, or just something else. We're just having conversations about how do you see yourself? And then, of course, that develops empathy as well and feeds into our work with belonging. Okay, so now we're getting into our kind of grand finale, for lack of a better word. So for third grade, and again, I'm not going to read all this, but I just want to highlight our teams have SMART goals, and it's connected to our school, obviously, site improvement plan, but it feeds down into what our kids are actually doing. So in third grade, they're working on their reading skills. Here were the learning targets for that, and you'll be pleased to know I'm not going to read all those targets, but I am going to introduce a couple kids and just let you know that as part of this process and practicing all those skills, they had the opportunity to select a person that they wanted to research and develop a wax museum presentation. So each student had a button, and they had families come in, and the families would push the button, and they would present really cool, just their research. And the investment and ownership was off the charts. So without further ado, I'm going to invite our 2 third graders from Mrs. Weinbrenner's class in, Ryan and Julia. We'll pretend that's your wax museum button.
I'm famous for being an activist, a 3-time heavyweight champion, and the most well-known boxer. I'm Muhammad Ali. I was born on January 17, 1942, in Louisville, Kentucky. I had a very hard childhood. There was segregation and racism. Also, I had a condition called dyslexia. This makes learning hard. When I was 12, I got a new bike, and then it was stolen. Then a policeman told me about a gym where I first learned to box. My first match was in 1954. When I turned professional, I won my first match and 18 more in a row. I got a new trainer, and I was ready to box Sonny Liston, the heavyweight champion. I dominated. At 22, I was the heavyweight champion. But then I got drafted into the war. I said no, so I lost my boxing license and got sent to prison in 1970. I later got my license again. Then I won against George Foreman and was heavyweight champion. When I retired, I was mainly an activist. I was married 4 times and had 9 children. I had Parkinson's disease, which causes tremors. But I made appearances. I lit the opening torch in the 1996 Olympic Championship. I got the Presidential Citizens Medal from Bill Clinton in 2005. There was a center built after me. I died on June 3rd, 2016, at the age 74. I believe with hard work and dedication, you can become the greatest.
Hi, I'm Julia Purifoy. You must never be fearful for what you are doing when it is right. Do you know who didn't give up their bus seat to a white man? Do you? Rosa Parks did. I was born on February 4th, 1913 in Montgomery, Alabama. I went to an all-black school and black teachers college. I joined the NAACP for colored people in 1932. I recall myself as a problem solver because I found a way to end segregation on buses. I was an activist. I helped get the Voting Rights Act in 1965. It gave equal voting rights to all. The lesson you can learn from me is never giving up, even when people are really mean to you. The only tired I was tired of giving in.
Thanks to Mrs. Weinbrenner and our third grade team, and I'll also make a quick connection to our basic needs, just the choice, or having the freedom to choose. So it was really cool to see all the astronauts and vendors, all the different people that our students chose to research. One other, there's a picture of Mrs. Weinbrenner's Wax Museum crew, just to give you an idea of all the different people students were interested in. One other highlight, I was in a room recently and the kids were doing, they do a morning meeting or just a connection each day, and there's a theme. So you can kind of see in the background, if you look hard enough, Wednesday is their book talk day. And I walked in and it felt like just this family atmosphere. Everyone was crowded around and kids were just authentically sharing books. And it wasn't like a rote or compliance-based sharing. It was just authentically being excited and kind of buzzing. And I don't know if the picture quite captures how magical that was, but you can kind of see kids waiting in line to share off to the side. But just, that's kind of an example of what this looks like when it starts to come together. So now we're going to go to fourth grade, and we have 4 little mini snippets to share. The first kiddos are in Ms. Warden's class, and they're each going to share a little bit about something called the 40-book challenge. Here's a couple of quotes while they're on the way up. A couple of quotes from Donalyn Miller, who I think is the originator of the 40-book challenge. She actually presented at Greenwood a few years ago, too. But strong readers have lots of reading experiences, probably like strong basketball players maybe have basketball experience, too. And the right book for you is out there somewhere. Let's find it. And that's kind of the basis of the 40-book challenge. So without further ado, I'll have, not necessarily in this order, but maybe Gage, Zachary, Sporty, and Shrika. All right, Gage, we're ready for you. You want to do this one?
My teacher has asked us to do the 40-book challenge. It has changed my view of different genres of books I used to not like graphic novels, books I used to only like graphic novels. This 40-book challenge has allowed me to read different genres of mystery, poems, fantasy, and biographies. I even shared my favorite book, Lion of Mars, with my brother. So the 40-book challenge has changed how I feel about books, and now I love to read.
The 40-book challenge has helped me read books other than graphic novels. It helped me start reading all kinds of books like fantasy, historical fiction, mystery, and realistic fiction. If we had not done the 40-book challenge, I still would have been reading graphic novels, and I would not know how much I like all the other genres.
Hello everyone, my name is Shika and I love reading all kinds of books like Malala, Annie Frank, and Whitebird, and other books. Now my whole perception of books changed, in a good way, and don't judge a book by its cover. That's another thing I learned from this challenge. Thank you for letting me have this opportunity to speak about my 40-book challenge. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Prithvi, and I want to talk about how the 40 Book Challenge helped me grow as a reader. Before my teacher introduced me to the 40 Book Challenge, I kind of thought reading was a little boring. I wasn't interested in it either. I used to stick with certain kinds of books, usually graphic novels or small chapter books. I always read the same genre, but through the 40 Book Challenge, I started reading a variety of books. The books in my backpack have expanded from fantasy to science fiction, nonfiction, historical fiction, and so much more. So yes, it can be a little heavy to carry around sometimes, but reading makes me feel lighter. Through books, I meet characters that remind me of myself and who I connect with. Throughout 4th grade, books became my comfort, something reliable to always turn back to. They cheer me up when I'm sad and introduce me to all types of worlds and people. From fantasy, I learned that everyone has something magical inside of them. Through historical fiction, I learned that history should never be forgotten. And from nonfiction, I learned about a variety of cultures. I transitioned from reading small books with simple words in them to reading complex chapter books. This challenge helped me improve my reading and spelling fluency by introducing me to words I may have not known. Reading makes me feel as if I've been transported inside the story, and I can't wait to find out what happens next. The 40 Book Challenge helped me become an avid reader, and so I hope more kids who find reading boring learn to love it through this challenge. Finally, I want to thank everyone for giving me this opportunity to share my experiences.
Okay, that just mind-blowingly awesome. Thank you. Quick connection. We talked about how we're committed to having all kids learn how to read and want to read, and then shared the research on the importance of reading for pleasure. So just listening to them, to me, it's kind of clear, like those things are happening and we're putting them in a position to nurture that. So another 4th grade teacher, Ms. Sawada, is going to come up and have her kids talk about 3 different slivers or parts of our collage.
All right. I am the lucky teacher of these 4. So I have Brecken, Olivia, Caitlin, and Krishna, and they're all going to share just little snippets of what reading looks like. They went around with some friends and took pictures from our classroom, the hallways, other 4th grade rooms, just to show you a little bit of what reading looks like at our school. We also do the 40 Book Challenge, just like Miss Warden's class, but showing you just, again, a different lens and another collage of just reading at Greenwood.
I will be talking about book clubs. Book clubs are a fun way to talk about a book of choice. It is also a great way to meet new people and have a fun time reading. Hi, my name is Krishna from Greenwood Elementary. I'm going to be talking about the ways we organize our books in the 4th grade classrooms. One way we organize our books is by genres. I think this is a good idea because if a person knows the exact genre of the book they need, they can look for that type of genre on the shelves. Another way we organize our books is by color. If the reader knows the exact color of the book they need, they can look on the shelves for that type of color. I think one thing that I especially like is when they hang the books on the walls, cover facing inside of the classroom, so you can look for the cover of the book you need. Those are the ways we organize our books in the 4th grade classrooms. Thank you.
I'm going to talk about ways that we use books in other subjects. A way we use books on a daily basis is for other subjects, like science. We use the book, We Are Water Protectors, to learn about Minnesota lakes. This book shows how we can stand and protect water from oil leaks and spills. We also use the book in math to show how we can use remainders, but that is only 2 ways we can use books in other units and subjects. Hi, today I'm going to be talking about a way we share our reading. We have a small TV in our classroom that displays a slideshow of what our class is reading. Each student has a slide with their picture and a picture of the book they're reading. As we finish a book and start a new one, we update our slide. Being able to see what our classmates are reading gives us ideas and recommendations of books we should read next.
One of the reading skills we did was we read a book about promising. Then we wrote on a sticky note what we promised to do for the rest of the year and hung it on a wall.
Way to go. Thank you. All right, and I'm just going to highlight, before we have the kids from Mrs. Peterson's class and Mrs. Bloom come up, I'll just highlight a couple other things that are happening throughout 5th grade. And I think teachers ask kids, like, what do you love about reading and reading practices? And these were some of the things, not everything our 5th graders mentioned, but reading with their buddies, no surprise there. Projects related to vocabulary, Tune Tuesday, book clubs, and then first chapter Fridays. And I'll just share what a couple of those are that might seem different to things. When I was in high school, I forget even what we called it, but we had to take apart sentences and it just for hours and hours and hours. And I wasn't super excited by it, although I understand the importance. Our students are telling us they love doing that, but with popular songs or songs that they choose. So that's Tune Tuesday, something they're telling us. We like doing that. Like, we find pleasure in that reading-related activity. So here's an example of a kiddo kind of reflecting on that, the lyrics more deeply. And then book clubs, this is just like an authentic picture. And you know, it's just like at home, when you take the camera out, everyone starts looking at you and you're like, no, go back to what you were doing. But I think I got it while they were actually doing what they were doing. But then, so I turn around, this was all just by chance. And then the table is empty. I'm like, what just happened? But the books were on the table and they had gone to the teacher and they were asking for the sequel. That's how authentically excited they were. I'm like, that is so cool. Like, that's exactly what we're going for. Because that wasn't part of the, begging the teacher for the sequel was not part of the book club, but they were doing that. And then projects related to vocab and just reading related in general. You probably heard a few times tonight mention of March Madness. I know some of our 5th grade classes, and actually throughout our school, several classes do tournament brackets with books. And I was in one class and I thought it was really cool. Not only did they have the book bracket and voting and such, but they also redesigned the cover of the book, and then it was like a flip book, and behind that they did some book talks related to it. So it connects back to that practice of kids need recommendations from trusted adults and peers. So teachers are giving them that opportunity. In reading intervention, just wanted you to know that we're using like a multimodal or multi-sensory approach so that students have the opportunity to listen, to hear, to touch, to feel. And in this example, it's just using magnetic letters, but breaking apart sounds, connecting sounds to words. So we're just trying to give you a real whole, complete picture of all the different supports that are happening. And we also have Mrs. Sarah Olson here tonight, who's going to share a little bit more about reading practices.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah Olson. I'm one of the special education teachers at Greenwood. As you can tell, we have the most incredible students at Greenwood with a wide variety of strengths and skills and needs. And a lot of the students that I work with really require explicit direct instruction in reading. And so just wanted to highlight a component of a structured literacy intervention that we do pretty frequently at Greenwood. So in a structured literacy lesson, a new phonics pattern or syllable type is introduced, and students practice reading it, identifying it, reading it in words, in sentences, and then in decodable text controlled with that passage. And research shows that it's really important to connect decoding or the sounding out of words with encoding or spelling those words. And so this is just an example of one way that we do that. So the phonics pattern that was introduced here is the DGE. After a short vowel makes the J sound. And this student work sample shows how we practice spelling that sound in isolation, in words, and then also in sentences.
Thank you so much. And we're nearing the end of our collage here. So at this point, I'll invite Mrs. Peterson, Mrs. Bloom's students up, and I'll just share kind of as an introduction Students were raving about the Theodore Boone Kid Lawyer book, and they just want to tell you about the project that they did that was associated with it. And these are fifth graders, so they did a mock trial, and of course mock trials usually involve some controversy. So if you have younger kids in the audience, just know that this is a fifth grade book. It's not a kindergarten book, okay?
Hello, my name is Lyndon, and I'm here to tell you a little bit about the book we read, Theodore Boone by John Grisham. Theo is a boy whose parents are lawyers, and so he wants to follow in their footsteps and become a lawyer as well. In his city, though, there is a case of terrible crime. Peter Duffy has seemingly murdered his own wife to get her life insurance, since he was losing money. Theo suddenly comes across a hidden witness who was an immigrant from Southern America and has seen Peter Duffy kill his wife. As an illegal immigrant, though, he has to use Theo as a messenger to prosecute Mr. Duffy. Mr. Duffy gets prosecuted and vanishes, and that is where the book ends.
Hello, my name is Saad. In our mock trial course, along with reading the book, we learned how the government and how our country's courts work. We learned about the different types of trials and how the court functions. We learned about criminal and civil cases, and we even had a law professor from Hamlin University visit to share her expertise. We did a mock trial to show what we learned. In summary, we learned a lot of new things in this course and had a lot of fun doing it.
Hi, my name is Maida, and I was in mock trials. Mock trials is almost exactly what the name suggests. You have an actual mock trials. In this mock trial, you get to choose a case and have to prepare an opening statement, questions for your witnesses, questions for the other team's witnesses, and closing statements. After presenting your case, the jury takes some time and then gives the verdict. Evan will be reading his opening statement from the case file files, and then Maddie will share her closing statement from the case caught red-handed.
Hello, my name is Evan. BAD Pharmaceuticals are guilty of causing Angelica cause pain and suffering because their vaccines contain unnecessary toxicol. The toxicol contained 49% mercury, an element that can cause lethal damage to the brain or death. Angelica had a fever of 105, which required immediate medical attention but was simply ignored. In 1996, Mr. Provitt filed a memo stating that 6-month-olds would receive 87 times the safe and allowable amount of mercury in his vaccines he was manufacturing. So he clearly knew the dangers of his vaccines but didn't care to do anything about it. If they took charge sooner, this family would not be in this situation. BAD Pharmaceuticals simply did not care about Angelica. They only cared about the profit to their company. Therefore, they were being selfish, negligent, and careless about their patients. I guess they never heard the statement, all lives are sacred, because they just ruined one.
My name is Maddie, and this is the closing statement our team wrote for the prosecution. Upon Patrick Picasso filling the driveway of Molly Manette's family, he moved on to Coaldale Elementary to fill the gray, graffitied walls with chalk and other things, even producing a whole beach scene. Dr. Wyatt Happen sprinted out of the school, taking Patrick Picasso to his office, where Officer George Agacha arrested him. The vandal who had been defacing the school had been caught, and the custodian could finally clean up only after the kids from Coaldale Elementary, and not elsewhere. The testimony Patrick Picasso made was that he was making the school more beautiful, but that was simply his opinion. He himself cannot deny that he had been wrecking school property and that his vandalism had happened. Drawing on the walls would also present the opportunity for different kids to draw on the walls as well. It could be extremely contagious. Vandalism is the intentional destruction, damaging defacing someone else's property. Vandalism is called malicious destruction of property or malicious mischief. The crime can be either a misdemeanor or felony, depending on the amount of damage. This is the law. This is why Patrick Picasso is guilty beyond reasonable doubt of vandalism.
Okay, I feel like I'm ready for school again. This is awesome. So that is the literacy collage or mosaic that we were hoping to show. We hope that you kind of noticed how things build over the years, but it all flows from our commitment and desire to help all kids learn how to read and make sure that they also want to read through lots of rich reading experiences. Thanks to the Greenwood families who came out tonight and to our amazing students and staff. We appreciate you.
Dr. G, don't go anywhere quite yet, because we'll make sure that, and students stay here for 2 seconds. I want to give my board colleagues a chance to make some comments, and I'll just say super quick, that was indeed awesome, right? That really cool. Colleagues, any comments or questions? Dr. Sahoni.
Thank you, Dr. Gustafson. That was a great presentation. I want to also thank the reincarnation of the legend Muhammad Ali from 3rd grade. I was hoping he would show us some moves. Also, I was hoping that he would say, I float like a butterfly and sting like a bee.
It took all my might not to hold his hand up in the air after he gave his speech. So you're a champion to us.
Other comments or questions? Heidi.
I could go on and on about the importance and relevance of the work that you're doing when it comes to reading and how it impacts your life moving forward. You guys are so impressive, and just seeing you speak with such confidence and your vocabulary is just so impressive. Thank you so much for showing me how bright the future is. And I took fervent notes as you guys were talking about all of your favorite books. So if you ever have a favorite book that you want to send to me, I am always building my collection. So thank you.
Marina.
Again, I ditto what my colleague said. And when I think about the sense of belonging and the diversity of how you're learning to read is absolutely incredible. So I really, really appreciate that.
Thank you again.
Thank you. Thanks again, students and parents. We're going to talk about really exciting stuff like policies and budgets, and so, but it's also the sun is setting, and we know there's some reading to do this evening. So, thanks all. Yeah. Thanks to our viewing audience. We have just a minute from as our students and families head out to do some evening and some reading and some homework. The next item on our agenda is the audience opportunity to address the school board. And I do see that we have one audience member that's here this evening to come and address the board. And so I would like to invite Mrs. Kim up to the podium, please. Just a reminder, as you come up to the podium, this is an opportunity for the school board to listen to comments. We don't engage in conversation or any back and forth conversations, but we'll have 3 minutes for us to hear from you. So, thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Sue Kim. I'm one of the band teachers in Wayzata Public Schools, and I've been teaching in the district as a band teacher for 16 years. I'm obligated to be here this evening for my students' sake. And so I just have a little something I'm going to read and a few comments after that. Why teach music? Music is science. It is exact, specific. It demands exact acoustics, A conductor's full score is a chart, a graph which indicates frequencies, volume changes, melody, and harmony all at once with the most exact control of time. Music is mathematics. It's rhythmically based on the subdivisions of time into fractions, which must be done instantaneously, not worked out on paper. Music is a foreign language. Most of the terms are in Italian, German, or French, and the notation is certainly not English, but a highly developed kind of shorthand that uses symbols to represent ideas. The semantics of music is the most complete and universal language. Music is history. It usually reflects the environment and times of its creation, often reflecting events of the country and/or racial feelings. Music is physical education. It requires fantastic coordination of fingers, hands, arms, lips, cheek, and facial muscles, in addition to extraordinary control of the diaphragmatic back, stomach, and chest muscles, which respond instantly to the sound of the ear hears and the mind interprets. Music is all of these, but most of all, music is art. It allows a human being to take all these dry, technical, boring, but difficult techniques and use them to create emotion. That's the one thing science cannot duplicate: humanism, feeling, emotion. Call it what you will. That's why we teach music. Not because we expect our music to be majors in music, not because we expect them to play or sing all their life, not so they can relax, not so they can have fun, although that's a good thing, but so they will be human, so they will recognize beauty, so they will be sensitive, so they will be closer to infinity beyond this world, so that they will have something to cling to, so they will have more love, more compassion, more gentleness, more good. In short, more life. That's why we teach music. To better our kids and society. Between the spring of 2022 and spring of 2023, 40% of the middle school instrumental music program was cut. This is devastating to the program and will set us back roughly 20 years, as teachers will be lucky to cover half of the curriculum that we now have as Wayzata curriculum. I just wanted you to understand the consequences of this decision on our kids. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Next on our agenda is administrative reports and recommendations, and we have some policies, and I'll turn it over to Dr. Flansburgh.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Superintendent Anderson, and members of the board. Presented for review are the following policies and regulations for your consideration. Policies and regulations were reviewed as part of the regular review cycle and using the Minnesota School Board Association model policy where available, by district administration and other district stakeholders where necessary. A final review was completed by the Policy Committee of the School Board. Please note, we are recommending the sunsetting of two policies, 719 and the regulation 719R, and 733 and 733R. 733 is now combined fully with 732. The policies before you this evening are 601 and 601R, graduation requirements, 716, disbursements, 718, cash and checks in school buildings. Again, the recommended sunsetting of 719, use of district telephones, 730, trust for other post-employee benefits, 732, data request policy, the 732 form, data request policy form, 733, data request policy for public data, again sunsetted as it is being combined with 732, and 802, naming of facilities.
All right. Thank you very much. Board colleagues, the recommended action is to approve policies 601, 716, 718, 730, 732, 802, and approve the sunset of 719 and 733. Is there a motion to that effect?
Madam Chair, I move that we waive the first reading of the continuing policies and approve them for second and final approval.
Is there a second to that motion? I second that motion. Right, it's been moved by Milland and seconded by Linda. Is there any discussion? All right, I just want to thank the policy committee and Milland, I know you're chair, for the review of the policies. Thanks to Amy and Nate for and the administrators who are connected with these, which I know were finance and teaching and learning and a number of things. And so thank you to everyone for the work that you put into. This looks like a quick movement, but there's lots of reading and doing and writing and such behind the scenes. So thank you so much. The motion has been moved and seconded. There's no more discussion. All in favor of approving the aforementioned policies, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Abstention. Motion carries unanimously. Thanks so much. Okay, and that is our administrative reports and recommendations, and now we move to finance and operations, and I'll turn it over to Dee Dee Caring.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Anderson. Tonight I want to bring forward the 23-24 operating capital budget. Annually, the school board adopts the operating capital budget for the subsequent fiscal year before the full budget is approved. This is to accommodate significant lead times in getting required equipment and receive many of the capital expenditures, including in the operating capital budget. The district's capital committee prioritizes requests and proposes a capital expenditure plan to administration. A document was submitted to you and reviewed by the finance committee of the board with the expenditures proposed in 23-24 operating capital budget. This budget is funded through aid and levy revenues. The district's administration proposed operating capital budget for fiscal year 23-24 is for $2,889,144. That is the revenue, and the expense is the same. There will be no change to fund balance. Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you. Board colleagues, the recommended action is to approve the district administration's recommended FY 23-24 operating capital revenue and expenditure budget. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved by Cheryl, seconded by Heidi. Any discussion or questions? Hearing none, I will once again thank the Finance Committee of the Board and the Finance and Operations Department for that careful review and conversation. And this is a roll call vote.
Linda Cohen.
Yes.
Sheila Pryor.
Yes.
Heidi Cater.
Yes.
Bonita Lucky. Yes. Cheryl Poseen.
Yes.
Milan Tahoni.
Yes.
Sarah Johansson.
Yes. Okay, motion passes unanimously. Fantastic. And moving on to human resources and a couple of things about insurance recommendations, and I'll turn it over to Stacy Voss, Executive Director of Human Resources.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair, members of the board, Superintendent Anderson. As a part of the required HIDA RFP process, the Insurance Committee recommends the district accept the United Healthcare offer for administration and stop loss, and also the ClearScript offer for pharmacy benefits, administration for the 23-24 contract year. The Insurance Committee reviewed an option to keep the health plan as is, which would have required a 19% increase to premiums for both the district and our employees. After a thorough review, the committee was able to lower the increase to 7% by making plan changes to the deductibles and out-of-pocket maximum amounts for the 23-24 plan year. The committee realizes that any change is hard, but the 19% increase was not an option that anyone was able to support. I would like to thank the following members for their work on this important committee. Every bargaining unit has a representative that represents their group and also helps us share information in regards to insurance benefits. So a thank you to Corey Knutson, Ann Nauman, Linda Lankford, David Schultz, Deneen Osgard, Ron Rogers, Ashley Paul, Mindy Olson, Leslie Myron, Marla Stahl, and especially Joanne Fieldseth for all of her work in coordinating our benefits. She has an interesting love for our health insurance and our dental insurance, and I'm extremely appreciative of that love that she has for a topic that not everyone is excited about. So a special thanks to her. And with that, the recommended action is before you.
Okay, thank you so much. Board colleagues, the recommended action is to approve the recommendations of the Insurance Committee that the district selects United Healthcare on a self-insured basis for administration and stop loss, and accept the ClearScript pharmacy benefit offer, and accept the 7% rate renewal and plan changes for the 2023-2024 health insurance plans. Is there a motion to that effect?
I so move.
Second. It's been moved by Milland and seconded by Benita. Any discussion? I do just want to echo, there's an awful lot that a person does in a day, and this committee making this recommendation and doing this review and working through what seemed like a really high increase or a plan change, we know that that is not an easy process. I recognize Joanne's special love, and her energy and enthusiasm is a gift to every employee in this district, so, and to us too, so thank you so very much. Okay, and with that, I think that this is a straight vote. So all in favor of approving the recommended action regarding the authorization of health and hospitalization insurance rates for 23-24, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Abstention, motion carries. Okay, and one more from HR.
So the next recommendation I have for you is in regards to dental insurance. The administration is recommending an overall 3% increase in funding for our self-insured Delta Dental Plan. We are pleased to accomplish this without any plan design changes. The recommended action is before you.
All right, thank you so much. Board colleagues, the recommended action is to approve the recommendation that the district remain with Delta Dental on a self-insured basis, and a rate renewal for 23-24 plan year is 3% overall. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Anita?
Second.
Anita, and then Linda or Cheryl, both. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor of approving the recommended action regarding the authorization of dental insurance rates for 23-24, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Abstentions, motion carries. We have all types of insurance. Fantastic. Okay, thank you to our administrators for your work this evening. We have no other board action this evening, but I do think we have a couple of board reports. So we'll have Linda and then Milland, and then we'll see if anyone else has something.
Well, it seems that April is my turn to do a board report. I believe that each member of the board gets a month or whatever. And I thought about talking about the committees I'm on and what those committees do and so on, but you all get the minutes and so forth. So I decide I'm briefly talking about two other things. Two activities that are coming up in this month. One has to do with the board itself, and one has to do with students. The first is, and this is mainly for our audience and any of our constituents who happen to be watching, but the board as a whole is going to have a session about governance, and so that we can more clearly delineate the role of board members between being operational and managerial, which is our administration, and the board, which really is governance. And as I was reading the book that I'm supposed to have read, and colleagues, that's a reminder for all of you to be reading chapters 1 through 4 and 9. One of the things that really stuck out for me was the idea of being on a board is really like being on a team, so that we're all team players. And one additional element is that we're really team players with our administration and our superintendent. And that's how boards can really work very effectively. So I look forward to our work session, and I hope all of you do too. The second item that I want to mention is the student research projects. The Honors Mentor Connection students and AP research students will talk about their research projects. To me, this is just a wonderful example of some of the really high-powered things that go on in our district. These students, from the beginning of the school year, stated a research question, they designed their methodology, they collected data, and they drew conclusions. They also will report these conclusions. I think all of us have gotten a notice about that. I highly recommend or in person board members to go to a couple of these. I have each year, and they are fascinating. I'm going to read just a couple of the topics that students have chosen, and and they're the ones, some of them were so complicated I couldn't even pronounce the chemicals, and I'm a chemistry major. But anyway, these are a few of the research studies. There are many that you can pick from. The evaluating of impact of COVID, that COVID had on a variety of different economic sectors. The experience and opinions of youth soccer players in pay-to-play system. The effect of standard chemotherapies on breast cancer stem cells. Predicting physicians' actions for sepsis patients, a discussion using logistic regression and deep learning methods. And how has the usage of social media among students at Wayzata High School impacted their political stances? There are many other topics, but many, many sound interesting. And I commend our high school, Amy Swenson and Amanda Layden, for providing these wonderful programs for our students. That concludes my report.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Cohen, for that report. And I concur, the HMC presentations and the forum are just really incredible. And we've seen a lot of the incredibleness of our students this evening. Milland, you also have a board report.
I do. Thank you, Dr. Cohen. I agree with you that the honors program is really great. I attended some of them last year as a freshman board member, and I plan to attend a few more this year. I'm glad you are not going. I'm also a chemistry major. Please do not ask me to pronounce those names. I will not be able to. Anyway, I have an announcement to make for an audience of one, and the viewers that are watching online. This is about the Young Scientist Roundtable program that Wayzata has been conducting or having since 1992 when Dr. Vinod Padde started the program. So this is the last month that we will have two of them this month. There is one on the 12th, April 12th. It's on the topic of tornadoes, the mathematics and physics behind their power. It's at 7 o'clock at Wayzata Central Middle School, and the speaker is Dr. Pavel Belik, Professor of Mathematics and Data Science, Augsburg University. The second one is on April 26th, also Wednesday, and it's on rapid intervention in the ER to save a dying patient at 7 o'clock at Wayzata Central Middle School by Dr. Mike Puskarich from the Hennepin Healthcare. So Dr. Padde spoke to me for a few minutes after the last YSR, and this is what he said. First of all, this program is free for everybody, and there is no registration required. And what Dr. Padde said was, the speaker quality has not been lacking. It's not an issue, but attendance has been. So please, please, please attend these programs. Thank you, Dr. Sakdaki. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Welcome. Thank you so much. It is always a wonderful event, and you can learn so much. I do appreciate going to them, and grateful for everyone who gives their time and attention to educate our community. So thanks so much. Any other board reports this evening? Okay, hearing and seeing none, this concludes our agenda for our board meeting. And so I will entertain a motion to adjourn this regular meeting of the Wayzata School Board.
So move.
Second.
It's been moved by Millen, second by Benita. Discussion, all in favor of adjourning our meeting this evening, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The Wayzata Public Schools Board of Education regular meeting for Monday, April 10th, 2023 is adjourned.